Thank you for coming out this afternoon. From the Jetgate scandal that saw 3 OBA ministers violate the ministerial code and lead to the resignation of Premier Kenneneer, to the serious allegations before the courts of attempted bribery in the waterfront scandal by OBA ministers and insiders. From day one, the OBA government tenure has been characterized by scandals, broken promises, and lack of transparency. When ministers are accused of accepting favors and payouts from casino developers or attempting to obtain bribes from waterfront developers, serious shadow over the reputation as a clean, modern, sophisticated jurisdiction that is Bermuda. Any right-thinking Bermudian would agree that corruption in any form has no place in our country. If it happened in the past, it was wrong. If it happens in the future, it is wrong. And if corruption is happening today, right now, within the OBA government, it is still wrong. On Monday in Parliament, I intend to table legislation in the interest of public welfare to establish a commission of inquiry to conduct a special investigation into the serious allegations of extortion and bribery made against ministers of the government. The Honorable Craig Kenneneer, Senator Michael Fay, and MP Mark Pettingill. In 2006, the Honorable Michael Dunkley said these words, calling for a commission or a royal commission. Quote, "The allegations called into question the very character of our country, our sound reputation, sound and principled government, and long history of integrity, fair play, and trust. When those who hold public trust for private gain, the effects are far-reaching and too serious for anyone to ignore. How we deal with it in the weeks ahead would say much about us as a country, our political leadership and public standard, and the example we set for our children. The people of Bermuda has a right to know the full extent that senior members of the current government played in this scandal." End quote. I'm asking the Premier, the Honorable Michael Dunkley, stand where he stood in 2006 and use his office to lead his party to support the motion and make it happen. If he does not, then he fails his own principles and he fails the people of Bermuda. Thank you.
We know, Mr. Burbidge, from experience, that just because the House may pass a motion calling for commission of inquiry doesn't mean Government House will accept it. Does that weigh on your mind in any way?
No, it doesn't. We have a responsibility as parliamentarians to carry out our portion. The governor acts according to what he or she feels at the time. And so he will be held responsible, and the people of Bermuda will be clear on where he stands on this matter if he doesn't support a commission of inquiry. But our role is clear, and that's what we're carrying out our role.
And aren't you worried that you're going to be outvoted? And this is not going to go anywhere?
Well, let me just say this to you. If they're trying to hide, cover up, and stop the allegations or stop where people actually, the people hear what's going on, then that's their fault. We can't do anything about that. The opposition has a responsibility to bring these matters before Parliament, and Parliament has a right to, at the end of the day, to vote for it, and they vote against it because they have the numbers, and they do have the numbers. Then the people clearly see what they're trying to hide.
You've tabled a similar motion that was rejected by the Speaker. What makes you think he's going to accept it now?
Well, we have had discussions with the Speaker, and now he's supporting it. Basically, the last time he removed or he told us not to be debated because he felt that it was sub judice. And now that the courts have literally put the evidence out there as far as on what's on the tape, then it is now falls away as far as sub judice because it's in the public's out there in the public. But we are arguing basically on the public interest, the public welfare. That's where we are right now. And so everything, all the rules that we have, our standing orders that's before Parliament, should be literally removed to ensure that the public interest is protected. And that's the argument that we're making before Parliament, and that's what I think the Speaker at the end of the day recognized the importance of it.
Do you have any indications from MPs on the ruling on the governance side that they might support this motion?
Well, this will probably be the first time, although they were aware that we was thinking about laying the motion. But today they'll be the first time they hear that we're going to put it in the House on Monday, and not only put it in the House on Monday, but debate it on Monday.
But not only that, Io, what I think is important is that several members of the OBA are on record as saying that they fully support clean, transparent honesty within government. And if anybody is doing any wrongdoing, they will not support it from members of their side. Patricia Gordon-Pamplin in particular has said it, as you will know, as you all will know in the media, has said it several times. So why would they not go along with this motion? And in particular, the Premier. In 2006, when he was the opposition leader, he called for a commission of inquiry. Now he has the highest power in the country as Premier to make a decision based on his statement, his televised statement in 2006, that he called for the government of the day to agree to a commission, a royal commission of inquiry. So why would he not support it today? It'll be very interesting come Monday.
Matter of fact, if you recall, the government in this platform talking about recalling members who had done things wrong. They have not passed that legislation. So now it's time for them to stand up for what is right and support this motion. If the members are assumed to be innocent right now, then the Commission of Inquiry will, at the end of the day, have the powers to, as subpoena individuals, get Stephen DaCosta back here in Bermuda, and have a clear understanding of what he meant in those tapes. And then the Cannoneer, Minister Cannoneer, Minister Fay, and the Minister, the Member of Parliament, Pettingale, will appear before the Commission. And I'm hoping that that Commission is open to the public.
And I think also we have to recognize that the affidavits that have been filed are very serious, are very grievous. So somehow we cannot just let this die and hope that it's all going to go away. For the last 2 years now, we have discussed in the House and on the street, in the media, scandal after scandal, from Jetgate to Sterngate to Waterfront Gate, Municipality Gate. Now we're talking about somebody. There's some serious allegations that have gone all the way to the Supreme Court that there's been some untoward behavior. This government came to power on the premise of integrity, of transparency, of not even putting up with the thought or the appearance of untoward behavior. So this Commission of Inquiry, if there is nothing wrong done, well, hopefully, they and the Commission of Inquiry would find that. But something has to be done, and something has to be done now.
Mr. Furr, what's your assessment of Government House's reaction to this whole, these allegations? I mean, they've said very little publicly, and your party led a delegation, a month or two ago to London to protest. But we haven't heard anything from the FCO on that. So, I mean, what is their role?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tarai, that's a good question, because you might recall that a former governor asked for an investigation into one of our former premiers, Premier Brown, based on evidence given in court by a convicted liar. That former governor instructed an investigation to take place on one of our former premiers based on allegations made by a convicted liar. Why has this governor been so quiet when you have this type of very, very damaging information coming before the public? Why is he so quiet? I'd like to ask the governor that question. Why have you been so quiet? Then the record has been set, the tone has been set, the level of governance by the governor, previous governor, has been set. Why hasn't he said, well, let's have an investigation? Or at least come out publicly and say what his thoughts are.
And regardless where this inquiry goes, I think as elected officials, it's our job and responsibility to protect the public interest. So, and that is what I stand on. And I hope that the governor will finally get up and say he would support this commission of inquiry.
Who would define the terms of reference?
Well, the terms of reference are clear in the Commission Act. What we are asking for is that the governor appoint at least 3 commissioners, because he can appoint 1. But in the motion, it talks about appointing 3 commissioners, and that those commissioners come from outside.
And in terms of making it public, how would that work? Would that be up to the governor or
When you say what public?
if it's open to the public?
Well, we will do our part to ensure that, or try to make sure that it is public, and that it's not be done behind closed doors. Because I think we can't allow this cloud to be just hanging over our heads. People knows it's there, and the government's just wishing that it would go away. As the premier came from Jetgate, said now Jetgate is now Deadgate. Well, that can't be quite right. Particularly if the police are still investigating, which I don't understand how they're still investigating after 2 years. Everybody knows you can look at checks going in and checks going out within a week.